Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Well, it's great to not only be here at Disney, but to be here at the second annual Lean Accounting Summit. And it really is impressive to look out on a group of pioneers. And that's exactly what you are, 500 pioneers in the same room at the same time. If you think about the finance professionals throughout the world, you are part of a select few that really get it. You get this thing called lean accounting. And it doesn't mean that you've mastered it, but most likely you recognize that there's a disconnect between lean enterprise and how we account for it. You know, in many respects, this is uncharted territory. And to illustrate this, Ori Fumi, who you're going to hear from a little bit later on in the summit, replaced the phrase lean accounting thought leaders, which is what we call our team of presenters, with the term learning leaders. Ori said this to indicate that even the experts are still in the process of learning. So here we are at the summit, to learn from each other, to discover new ways to bridge the gap between lean and accounting. We've assembled a group of presenters that, sorry Ori, are really thought leaders. And they're some of the most highly regarded leaders around the world, including those of you in this room, because you too are leaders. Especially when you go back to the companies where you're going to have to affect change. Bold leadership is a critical component to this whole piece. You know, for the past decade, I've headed up a firm whose mission is focused on creating platforms for growth. And our primary component in doing that is maximizing the bench strength and bench depth of leaders in companies. And we found through our research and practical application that the most influential component that is the differentiating factor between companies that are successful and companies that aren't is the leadership within those companies. And a gentleman that understands the need for leadership probably better than anyone else is Jim Hunsinger, the founder and president of the Lean Accounting Summit. And Jim has been instrumental in spreading the word about lean accounting throughout the United States and Europe. He's turned research from 15 years ago into a network of thought leaders, and he's leveraged that network into what's now the second annual Lean Accounting Summit. Now, if you happen to run to Jim in the hallway, you've got to ask him about his passion for the history of lean accounting. Last year, how many of you were here last year? If you can just raise your hand. Well, you were told last year about a story where Jim had literally risked being arrested climbing a fence to look at the Henry Ford Highland Park facility. Now this is a guy that has passion. Jim, where are you? I found out yesterday, is it true that one of your two friends that climbed the fence with you, was she 7 months pregnant? 7 months pregnant? Okay, now this is a guy who has a passion. In fact, I'll even say this is a guy who's obsessed with lean accounting. And we're excited that he's going to be able to come up. In fact, if you can come on up here, Jim, while I'm talking. On that note, I'd like to introduce to you the man whose passion sparked the whole Leadership Summit concept for lean accounting, Mr. Jim Hunsinger, the founder and president of the Lean Accounting Summit. Jim?